welcome back to the Profit Roadmap. As always, we're your hosts, Ryan and Becca, and this is the premier podcast created to help field service pros grow their business, stay on top of the latest trends, and help you provide even more value to the communities that you serve. Now, today, we're actually excited to talk to you about some of the biggest trends in the home service industries. As you know, things change quickly, so we've compiled a list of important topics to help keep you informed. So, today's show topics include all of the need-to-know industry happenings, including how to keep your employees healthy in the heat, the 2024 HVAC disposable cylinder ban and why it was recently overturned, some of the latest tech and trends in the lawn care and cleaning industries, and the pros and cons of the 2023 water heater energy proposal. So we've got a pretty hot list for you guys today. So on that note, I'm going to toss it over to Becca, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about keeping our teams healthy and hydrated despite the heat.
All right, so keeping your employees healthy in the heat. We all know the current heat is brutal right now for your team members working outside. So educating your crews on primary signs of heat stroke is going to be really important to keeping them safe. Here are some signs of heat stroke to be on the lookout for. High body temperature. A core body temperature of 104 degrees Fahrenheit or higher obtained with a thermometer. That is a main sign of heat stroke. Altered mental state or behavior, things like confusion, agitation, slurred speech, irritability, seizures, coma. These are all things that can also result from heat stroke. Alteration in sweating and heat stroke brought on by hot weather. Your skin will feel hot and dry to the touch. However, in heat stroke brought on by strenuous exercise, your skin may feel dry or slightly moist. Nausea and vomiting, flushed skin, rapid breathing, heart rate, headache, and more. So whenever you're feeling any kind of signs like this, not feeling good in your body, when in doubt, just call 911 if you or your team has a heat stroke. Make sure your team stays hydrated throughout the day. Dehydration signs to look out for are extreme thirst, less frequent urination, dark colored urine, fatigue, dizziness, confusion. Some solutions to helping prevent some of these dehydration and heat stroke are avoid large amounts of caffeine. I know we all need coffee in the morning, but caffeine is a huge dehydrator. I know I do. Some solutions to avoiding dehydration and heat stroke. Avoid drinking large amounts of coffee. I know we all need coffee in the morning, but coffee can be a huge dehydrator when starting your day, so you want to make sure you're getting plenty of fluids, water, and electrolytes in your body. Drink every 15 minutes when the weather is at its hottest. That's typically around noon when the sun is at its peak heat. You're going to really start sweating there. You want to keep a cooler with ice, water, and Gatorade in the truck. And maybe invest in things like a thermos, a stainless steel tumbler, things that are known to keep water cold and nice and chill in your vehicle. Ways to keep your teams cool. You want to provide your crews with water coolers, right? Ice, snacks, keep them happy because when people are hot, they tend to be really cranky. So snacks to keep them hydrated.
That's relatable.
Right? Yeah. And like snacks like fruits, things that are like nutritious or like water-based. Watermelon, you can never go wrong there, just saying. Those are nice summer snacks. You want to give your crews cooling neck wraps to keep the heat off their neck and their back throughout the day. Plus, crews can keep a few in the cooler and exchange them as the day goes on. Ensure your crew wears light-colored, loose-fitting clothing. Long sleeve uniforms are the way to go to beat the heat in the sun. The sleeves will protect the skin from the sun's harmful rays, so take that into consideration. Look into shirts that have moisture wicking and UV protection. Sunscreen is a huge plus. Sunscreen all over yourself. Keep your crews in the shade on their breaks and don't let them eat lunch in a hot truck. If they can't go sit inside the AC somewhere, at least go sit in the shade. Consider investing in a few missing bucket fans. They are portable, battery powered, and will last several hours. Be sure to check out our blog pages for more information. That's serviceautopilot.com/blog or fieldedge.com/blog.
I only recently discovered missing bucket fans and I feel cheated. Like
really?
They're cheap and they're so nice.
They're lifesavers, huh?
Yeah, especially here in Florida. Huh. All right, guys. We're going to talk about something that is a little more on my side, so a little more on the Field Edge HVAC side. But I want to talk to you guys about the 2024 HVAC disposable cylinder ban. This one made some waves in the community. So there's some updates to it, so we're going to talk about it. So, some information about this, if you're not in the loop, the 2024 HVAC disposable cylinder ban, which aimed to phase out single-use containers for transporting refrigerants, has recently been overturned. The decision to overturn the ban was met with relief from many HVAC industry groups, but with concern from environmental advocates. So a little bit of history for you guys here. The disposable cylinder ban is a result of the American Innovation and Manufacturing Act of 2020, and the act mandated that the EPA reduce the production and consumption of HFCs by 85% over the next 15 years. Now, the bill also included provisions to ban the sale of non-refillable, i.e. disposable cylinders after December 31st of 2024, and additionally, it would have required QR code tracking for individual cylinders through the supply chain. Now, the overall goal here was to help with climate change. With the disposable cylinders that were used, they could potentially release harmful greenhouse gases into the air. That and the single-use canisters typically meant that they would end up in a landfill. Now, there was some pushback on this. So Hardy, the ACCA, PHCC, along with U.S. cylinder manufacturer Worthington Industries, filed petitions against the EPA, claiming that the non-refillable cylinder ban and the requirement to track individual cylinders exceeded its authority. Furthermore, they argued that implementing the changes outlined in the bill would have been very, very difficult with challenges to infrastructure, logistics, and the retraining of personnel. So this is something that would have been particularly tough for smaller businesses. There really wasn't a global consensus around this, and there were reasonable risks of disruptions within the refrigerant supply chain. So as a result, the ban was overturned. So that said, you should still make sure that you are keeping track of your refrigerant based on your current local regulations. But as we know more, we'll keep you guys updated.
So y'all, additional trends, going green, and new tech. Starting with some lawn care. So what are the latest green solutions that we're looking at right now, especially with climate, weather, how hot, what we're trying to cut back on resources with especially using overuse of water. So maybe looking into drought tolerant grasses. So depending on the region you live in, you can find drought tolerant grasses that will stay green and healthy despite the heat and not as much water. Installing rainwater collection systems for irrigation. These can be simple or quite complex. You can harvest the water from roofs or rain gutter and then send it to a storage system for watering later on. Complex systems that have pumps, backflow prevention, flow meters, flush diverters to remove debris. I know I have a neighbor that has a butterfly garden. He literally ripped up all the grass.
Oh.
He ripped it all up. And it's just rocks and native desert kind of plants. It's really cool. So he saves so much money on water. And then he'll have these 10 plastic buckets in the backyard with that just collects rainwater. So he creates his own irrigation system. Pretty cheap.
I like that because you definitely don't have to water the rocks.
Exactly. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we can find better uses for the water buckets.
Exactly. Some other things using smart sprinklers. So you could take advantage of weather forecasts, control via Wi-Fi and or other home automation via Google Assist, Alexa that has timers and sensors that can be customized. So that's a really cool tool to set specific time frames for when water to go off, maybe in specific areas of your yard as well. The robotic lawn care. This is where we come into our techie. We can be individual units or fleets. These are typically zero emission and run on batteries. They could be a great solution for scaling and hiring shortages. Going into our cleaning side of business here, maybe offering eco-friendly cleaning options by using green cleaning products. This still provides good cleaning results, and it smells nice, and it's just healthier to breathe in. Going to minimize hazardous effects on pets and people, and it can help reach new customers, especially those, there's a lot of incentives actually depending on the city you're in. There's a lot of incentives for some people to go green. If you're using products, you might have some business or tax incentives there. Robotic vacuums for those of you with your cleaning crews. This can save you cleaners and allow them to focus more on tasks that the robot, a Roomba, little machine can do. It can help with hiring shortages in between and also increase efficiency over large areas. So be sure to check out our blog for more information. That's serviceautopilot.com/blog.
Awesome. The smart sprinklers, I don't tell me if it's like this where you're at, Becca, because we're obviously we're in different states, similar climate. So I'm in South Florida. I live in Cape Coral, and we have like really strict yard watering mandates. So like if you have sprinklers, they can only be on certain days of the week based on the last digit of your street address.
Yeah. It's
And yeah, don't quote me on it, but it's like if it ends in two, you can turn your sprinklers on a Wednesday. I don't know if other places do it like that, but that is like so crazy to me. So having smart sprinklers that I could just be like, oh, it's Wednesday, water the grass.
do it for
That's
me.
huge to me personally.
I feel
Yeah,
like depending on the county, it's kind of like that. I don't know if it's like that
yeah.
rigorous, but I did recently in my like neighborhood, the city of Plano has been coming out and adjusting people's water. They're cracking down.
They're cracking down. Yeah, code enforcement will run around and like,
Oh yeah.
you'll see the guy in his truck with the clipboard and just be like, well, it's a Thursday and the sprinklers are going. Like, I think I'm not an expert on watering my lawn. So if you live in Cape Coral, look up the regulations. Oh, excuse me, bump the mic. Look up the regulations because I'm not necessarily an expert on it. But like I think you can water it like by hand as much as you want with like a little like gardening pail.
Hmm.
I don't necessarily know if you're allowed to use like a hose, but you definitely can't use your sprinklers unless it's like your day. So home automation, that might be
Yeah.
something for me to look into. Let's move on. So I want to talk a little bit about the 2023 water heater energy proposal and some of the pros and cons that are around it. So this one will be real quick, but the goal here is from the Department of Energy. We want to increase the adoption of energy efficient water heaters and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And the regulations are scheduled to go in effect in 2029. So I'm a bad news first kind of guy. So let's start with the downsides. The costs here could be much higher for consumers as energy efficient water heaters are much more expensive, up to thousands of dollars more to purchase and install. Now, additionally, heat pump water heaters require 7 feet of clearance, which makes them tough to install beneath staircases or in low ceiling rooms where they're commonly installed now, or traditional water heaters are commonly installed. Now, the upsides here, because there are some, I think, pretty significant upsides. So, the primary one here is that they could cut CO2 emissions by 501 million metric tons over the next 30 years. Americans are projected to save $570 billion over 3 decades as a result of efficiencies gained from the new water heaters. And there will likely be rebates available, although that could still be tough and take time to claim. So those are all the big stories that we've got for you guys. So be sure to check out our blog pages for more info. Regardless of which one you go to, that's going to be on either serviceautopilot.com/blog or fieldedge.com/blog.
I feel like that's kind of like short term pain, but long term win, maybe. Like with that.
Yeah,
Huh.
I look at it. I look at it similar to buying a new like HVAC setup,
Yeah.
where it's like, yeah, you got to pay all this money, but at the same time, it's my house can feel great,
Right.
and I'll probably save some money on my electric bill. That's nice too, I guess.
Yeah, and we're cutting emissions so we can have like nice clean air.
Yes, yes.
All right, guys. Well, everyone, thank you so much to our listeners for always tuning in to the Profit Roadmap. And remember, you can listen to this show on all major streaming platforms, including Apple, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Be sure to visit our show notes at serviceautopilot.com/podcast to get the links to all topics we covered in today's show. If you have a question, guest recommendation, or if you want to be on the show, come hang out and chill with Ryan and I. Email us at profitroadmap@exploretechnologies.com. That is spelled XPLOR technologies.com. And if you enjoyed today's show, please tell a friend.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll catch you in the next one.